It's hard to believe that Southbridge Fellowship started just 2 years ago, March 4th, 2007, that we launched then. To look around and see what's taking place today, it was kind of funny. We started at a country club with a core group of about 40 people. The reason why that was funny was because we had started off by saying we're not going to be a club for Christians. We wanted to reach people in our community that were either not part of a church or didn't know Jesus Christ in any way. And we started meeting at this country club. It was almost like God's sense of humor. And soon outgrew the country club and moved over to the movie theater. And when we were at the movie theater, we launched with that message that we talked about from Ephesians chapter 3, verses 20 and 21. And immediately from that went into a series called Encounters, talking about how to encounter people as they come to our place. What did people encounter when they came into contact with Jesus? That first month that we launched, we had about 180 people for average attendance. Then we started teaching through a series called Preparing for Greatness. And in that series, we were really teaching our core value of generosity, talking about giving not just of our finances, we were talking about giving our lives away, giving of our time, talent, treasure, and truth. And at the end of that series, what we ended up doing is the first time ever as a church, we passed a plate. Only instead of collecting money from people, we ended up giving money to people and challenging them to give that money away.
On the same Sunday I heard the message about finances, my husband and I also learned we were expecting a new baby. I feel burdened for several friends who have not been able to have children. I think adoption is a wonderful act of love. We chose to give the financial gift to show Hannah's hope in order to help people pursue adoption.
God used that beyond what we would have ever guessed He would have done. At this point, as people are giving their lives away too, like I said, it was about more than just finances. People were dedicating their time and their talents to Southbridge to help us be able to reach more and more people for Jesus. Then we did our Jonah series. The Jonah series was cool because a lot of runners came home. You know, meeting in a movie theater has been really cool. It's caused some dilemmas as well. We've had people trust Christ, and therefore people want to get baptized. We have to figure out where we're going to do that. And so we started a relationship with the apartment complex across the street. Started baptizing people in their pool. It was really neat when we showed up and there's people in bikinis and staring out their windows watching us baptize people, truly making a profession of Christ before both believers and non-believers. Then we went into our next series, our first Christmas series called The Christmas Revolution, where we saw that Christmas was about more than just manger scenes and mistletoe. It was truly about being a revolutionary as we followed the revolutionary Jesus Christ. We kicked off the new year with the Born Identity series, where we're talking about our identity in Christ. When we've trusted Christ, we've got access to all spiritual riches. We are sons and daughters of the King. Then we went into the summer and we did our Proverbs series called Foolproof Your Life. Talked about wisdom for living, skills in life. We did things like the gas buy down.
We are here today at BJ's in Briar Creek at their gas station center, and we are pumping gas.
No one told me the right way to go about this, so I'll figure it out for myself.
We are paying the first $20 for every car that comes through, up to $4,000.
This fall we implemented our first ever elder team to give more spiritual oversight to our church. We kicked off with our Risk series, talking about stepping out by faith, putting our toes in. You may remember in that first message, we did our cardboard testimonies, where over 40 people stepped out and shared their story. It showed us that it's okay to be vulnerable and we all have stuff. Bridge Kids launched a new ministry called Big Backyard. The elementary school kids are very excited about it. Also, our children's ministry has grown from just a few kids when we first started to over 150 kids on a weekly basis now. Men's fraternity has been a great step for our church as men have decided that they want to know what it means to be a man, biblically speaking. We went right from our Risk series into our next Christmas series, Real to Real. Well, we watched some Christmas stories and we talked about the real Christmas story. We also had our first ever Christmas Eve service where we had over 20 people trust Christ. We had 2 packed services. There weren't enough seats for everyone to come. We went right from Real to Real to the series called Get Real that we're currently doing through the book of James, where we're talking about what happens when real life intersects with our real faith. In fact, some of you may remember one Sunday we gave away our shoes. Now, most of us gave away our shoes. We had over 500 shoes given, but for some reason we had some singles. We're still waiting if you'd like to be fully committed to this project. SYU, you may see them today wearing red shirts walking around church, but don't forget they started with just a couple kids meeting in an apartment. They recently took their first retreat. We got a bunch of kids that are bonding together and learning to follow Christ. It's a blessing to have so many people that want to worship with us at the movie theater here in Briar Creek. But it's also forced us to be creative. We started by going to 2 services in the fall of 2007. We filled up those 2 services and we've gone to a video venue, but we've had people commit to it. It's a different worship experience for us here at Southbridge. God's called people out of our body as well. We've sent out Matt and Misty Headspath to Panama to start a ministry with orphans. there in Panama, and we've also sent out Grant and Jody Waller to Madagascar, Africa to start churches there. In February of 2009, we had over 650 people at average attendance at Southbridge Fellowship. And it's easy to get excited about that. It's also easy to forget that there are thousands and thousands of people in our city that still haven't heard about Jesus Christ, or that don't have a relationship with Him, or that are not connected with other people that follow Him. And so the work is just beginning. And so we believe that He is able to do immeasurably more than we could ever ask or imagine, and we're excited to see what He's going to do next.